Hey there gamers, and welcome to another weekly Dreamlight Valley breakdown. Our big topic this week is the recent survey released by the Dreamlight Valley team, as many of the questions within the survey provide an interesting glimpse into the future of Dreamlight Valley. In today's video, we'll discuss each section of this new survey, covering potential changes, new characters, paid expansions, and even some controversial topics. So I hope you're ready because we have a lot to talk about. Before we get started, I'd like to mention that I'm a small full-time content creator, so every like on this video can make a tremendous difference for me. Consider subscribing for more Disney Dreamlight Valley and gaming content. If you would like to catch more of my content, you can find me live on Twitch Monday through Friday. Links to both my Twitch channel and Discord server can be found in the video description down below. And with that out of the way, let's get started. Hey there gamers, and welcome back to the channel. So as mentioned in the intro today, our big topic is going to be the recent survey released by the Dreamlight Valley team. For your convenience, the survey will be linked down below in the video description, and if you haven't taken the survey yet, I highly encourage you to do so. Now with that out of the way, let's talk about what was in the survey. Of course, with this survey being as long as it is, I'm not going to go over every single one of the questions. Some of them I'll group together. For example, the first 4 questions are just gauging demographic, like what platform people play on, what country, etc. Following that, the next 12 questions from 5 to 17 focus entirely on events, and there's some interesting stuff in this section. Now, the first few questions in this section focus on some basic data collection, like which events did you participate in out of the last 3, how did you hear about the events, what motivates you to participate in events, and how much you enjoyed the events or the event rewards. Around question 12 of the survey, this is where things start to get pretty interesting. Question 12 asks us to rank in-game themes, and it provides us with 3 options: seasonal holiday themed events, events centered around the latest character release, and events centered around movie releases or significant anniversaries. So for me, I put seasonal holidays at the top of the list here, followed by latest character, and then at the bottom I put movie releases. The very next question asks you to kind of explain your answer, and I just stated that I love to see events that give us some kind of new seasonal decor or outfit options, and I also feel like seasonal or holiday events are more immersive and enjoyed by a wider range of people. Events centered around the most recent character is something I see as a fun way to build on whichever character recently came to the valley. And lastly, for movie release events, I don't hate them. I've actually enjoyed Memory Mania and the rewards. The main reason this one's at the bottom of my list is I don't want the game to just promote a bunch of new movies to me, and that's just my opinion. You're welcome to disagree with me. You know, if you really love everything Disney and Pixar and you want an event for every major release, I get that. That's totally cool. This is just my opinion. The next question seeks to gauge community interest on what tasks or duties players will have to perform to complete events, including everything from solving puzzles, to mining, to decorating, crafting, etc., etc. For this one, I chose solving puzzles, decorating, and crafting, as I feel like I've already spent hundreds or maybe even thousands of hours on some of these repetitive tasks like mining and fishing and gardening. I've done it so much, I really don't want to do it for an event, and personally, I have more fun solving puzzles, decorating, and crafting. At least I might make something useful for my valley that way. Moving on to question 15, and I think this is a very important question. With the release of the Mulan update, we saw a lot of players stating they were feeling overwhelmed. I mean, we got Mulan, Mushu, a STARPATH, the Memory Mania event, new Remy quest. Like, it was a lot to drop on people at once, and if you have limited playtime, it could be kind of stressful or difficult to finish the Memory Mania event with all of these other things going on. And players have been pretty outspoken about that, and I think that's why this has been included in the survey, because they're considering what would be the best time to drop new events. This section of the survey gave us 3 options: weeks before an update, the same time as the update, or weeks after an update. My choice here was weeks before an update. If we're weeks before an update, I've already finished everything the last update had to offer, and I'm usually running out of things to do. And I feel like that's the case with a lot of players, so it would be nice to get a new event a few weeks before the next update drops. It can give you something to kind of pass the time with, to keep you busy. So I really like that approach. Hopefully that's something we'll see, but if the player base votes for something else, that's totally fine with me as well. And finally, we move on to my favorite question in this segment, which asks the players to give out their ideas for in-game events. So my response to this question was that I would love seasonal events that aren't just focused on holidays and offer players new seasonal decor options, like special flower decor for spring, special beach decor for summer, mushrooms and leaf piles for fall, snow piles, snow trees, and new ice decor for winter. Now, I do think a lot of players would love to see events like this. Let me know what you think in the comments. As for me, you guys all know I'm a very decor-centric player, and I would just love to get new seasonal decor. I think events that are seasonal themes would just be really fun. The next 10 questions focus on collecting information about future expectations for Dreamlight Valley, and there's some really interesting stuff in here. First off, we see some questions very similar to the last survey we took, which are asking about clothing. The first question asks whether you would like to see more clothing that is specific to certain Disney movies or more clothing that is original to Dreamlight Valley. My choice here was original, as I love seeing new things and new concepts which allow the developers to just get creative with what they bring to the game. But that doesn't mean I don't like, clothing from the Disney movies. I'm fine with that too. So it doesn't really make a difference to me which one of these happens. And at the end of the day, I'm sure we're going to see a bit of both either way. However, question number 19 is something I'm very opinionated on. It asked if we would like more fantasy clothing or more casual clothing. Now, I love fantasy, okay? I think that's pretty clear from a lot of my builds and the way I approach the game. So I went all in on fantasy. This doesn't mean I wouldn't like more casual clothes, as of course they're going to work well with certain Dreamsnap challenges. But one of my favorite things about the Monsters Incorporated update was the ability to change our eyes and our skin and just like completely transform our avatars. And a lot of my favorite items from the premium shop have been fantasy related, like the fairy wings. So I would just love to see more fantasy stuff in the game. The last question we're going to touch on regarding the clothing portion of the survey asks which clothing aesthetics we would like to see represented more in Dreamlight Valley. And there were some very interesting options here. We had everything from athletics to Disney parks wear, formal, royal, fairy, superhero, beachwear, cute, witchy, and even school styles. And a lot of these are really good, so I must say it is hard to pick just 3. But the 3 I chose were royal, which was explained as regal fashions featuring silk, velvet, and embroidery, fae/fairy, which is featured by styles inspired by nature, leafy looks, and wings. And lastly was witchy, which was described as wide-brimmed hats and gothic-style clothing. If you're somebody that keeps up with my lives and my content, I'm sure you're not surprised by these choices. I love using both my male and female avatars, and I switch it up all the time. And one thing I really want to see more of is witchy and gothic fashion. I already wear a lot of dark clothing for my female avatar. I just really like the way it works. And, my house has like a lot of potion core themes, so it just works really well for my builds. After discussing future expectations on clothing, the survey moves on to discuss future expectations for villagers. And there were some very fun and even controversial options in this portion of the survey. Question 22 asked, which franchises would you be most excited for in the game? And there were a lot of great options here. As for me, I had to choose Hercules, Aladdin, and Emperor's New Groove. These are my 3 all-time favorite Disney movies, and honestly, I'm still quite shocked that we have not got Aladdin or Jasmine in the game yet. But then again, we're missing some other iconic characters like Cinderella, so I guess I can't say I'm too surprised. I was hoping they would sneak Aladdin in at the end of Eternity Isle, like as a surprise character this summer, but I guess that's not happening because they're asking us now about adding him. As for Emperor's New Groove, Cusco, Kronk, Yzma.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
they would just be so fun to have in the valley. As for Hercules, just give me Herc, Meg, Hades. I'm gonna be super happy with that. Now, with my top 3 picks out of the way, there is a notable mention I want to make here, which was Star Wars. Now, when I said there were some controversial options, yeah, there were some people on Twitter that were saying, you know, if Star Wars comes to the game, it's going to ruin the game. And I don't see that. I just can't see that. Ruin the game? Yeah, maybe if Darth Vader came to the valley, that would be weird and unbalanced, but I don't think we would get Vader.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
When I think of Star Wars coming to the game, I think of Grogu, or Baby Yoda, as people like to call him, and also Obi-Wan.
Hello there.
And one of the arguments on Twitter was, you know, live action shouldn't come to the valley. It's weird. Well, what about the animated series Clone Wars? I mean, the Clone Wars version of Obi-Wan would fit right in, and it would be so cool to have a quest with Obi-Wan. I'm sorry, I'm a big lover of the Star Wars franchise. I know it didn't get in my top 3 picks because I'm going to choose Hercules, Aladdin, and Emperor's New Groove over it. With that said, I would absolutely love to get some Star Wars decor. We have a lot of theme park stuff in the valley already, and it would be really cool to make a Star Wars themed biome, especially if you're running a theme park build. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on the Star Wars debate. You don't have to agree with me. You can say, oh, you know, I don't like the idea of Star Wars coming to the game. And to be fair, I know a lot of people will disagree with me. I mean, some of the polls I've seen on this issue show that anywhere from 40 to 50% of players don't want Star Wars in the game at all. With such a large percentage of the player base being opposed to the idea, I do think any added Star Wars content should be optional. And there are a lot of ways that Gameloft could go about this, like a new paid expansion, or maybe even a dream bundle that includes a new villager like Grogu. Another issue with things like Star Wars and Marvel is that it's not really the first thing that comes to mind when people think of Disney. And there are so many original Disney characters that we're still waiting for. I mean, why do you think I voted for Aladdin, Hercules, and Emperor's New Groove, even though I'm okay with the idea of Star Wars? Well, it's for the reason I just told you. There are a lot of characters I would like to see before we move on to other IPs that have been purchased by Disney. And I think that's a fair stance among the player base. The only argument I really disagree with is a Star Wars character coming to the game would ruin it. And who knows, maybe it would for some, but even if we did get Star Wars, I feel like we'd only get maybe 1 or 2 characters. That seems to be what typically happens anytime a story or franchise is introduced into the game. And if it were made optional, as it should be considering how many people are opposed to it, then I don't see how it could really ruin anything. Oh, and one last thing before we move on. Imagine a handheld accessory lightsaber. Like, come on, just think about it. Just think about it. So the next 3 questions asks us how we would like to see the 3 franchises we chose integrated into the game. Now, I wanted to give each one of these a different answer because I don't think we're going to see an expansion for all 3 of the ones we pick unless we're like super lucky, so I did a different one for each. I chose Hercules for an expansion. I mean, I would just love to take a chariot to Mount Olympus and have like a Hades themed biome, an Olympian biome, and then like a mortal realm of Earth biome in a new DLC expansion. I think that could be done so well, and having Hades being the big bad and having to work with Hercules to get through the expansion could just be so much fun. As for a realm, I chose Aladdin. I think it would be really fun to have a realm that was featuring like the streets of Agrabah, and there would be so many fun possibilities there for quests and designs, and I just think it could be awesome. Lastly, for Emperor's New Groove, I said just a secret quest or a valley quest to bring them into the valley would be fine. I don't necessarily need an expansion for Emperor's New Groove or a realm. Just please give me Emperor Cusco. I just want a llama in my valley so bad. I just want to walk by him and hear him say, "No touchy."
Where'd you come from, little guy?
No touchy.
Next up, question 26 had the reverse side of the previous question, asking us which franchises we would be the least excited for. Now, it said we could choose up to 3, but there were really only 2 options that I genuinely wouldn't be excited for. I'm pretty much happy with whatever they add to the game, so my 2 choices here were Muppets and Cars. I'm not not big on the Muppets. If you are, that's totally cool. I'm not hating. It's just not for me. And as far as cars go, I don't know. I just think it would be really weird having Lightning McQueen like going around my valley. He just seems so big, and just thinking about how that would work, I don't know. I don't know if I would really like it or not. And finally, the last two questions in this segment gave us a very long list of potential villagers and asked us to gauge how we felt about them from uninterested to very interested. And there were a lot of really cool options and some options that I could care less about, but it was really fun reading through the names on this list. Now, I'm not going to tell you exactly where I stand on each one of these. I'll show my survey answers right now. You'll have them pop up on the screen. You can kind of see where I am. I will at least read off who I am not interested in and who I am very interested in. For not interested, I have Mater, Maid Marian, Nick, the Queen of Hearts, Lightning McQueen, Lumiere, Bo Peep, Randall Boggs, Forky, Mr. Incredible, Kermit, Miss Piggy, Cogsworth, Frozone, Jesse, Marlin, Rafiki, Elastigirl, and Nemo. Now, I don't hate these characters. Let me just say that right off the bat. It's not that I don't want them in the valley. For a lot of these characters, we already have characters from their verse. I would much rather get characters from other stories or franchises or movies before getting more Toy Story characters like Forky or Jessie. And the same thing goes with Beauty and the Beast. I wouldn't hate getting Lumiere and Cogsworth, but I'm not really interested in them as there are so many other characters I still really want to see. So here are the characters I'm very interested in. Jasmine, Peter Pan, Aladdin, Genie, Wreck-It Ralph, Jack Sparrow, Hercules, Grogu, and Cinderella. Now again, there are several other characters in this list that I was somewhat interested in that I didn't read off. There were a bunch that I was neutral on. There were several that I was just barely not interested in. I just don't have time to explain my stance on every single one of the choices here, but you can look through here and see where I am on them. If you want to ask me about my opinion on some of these, feel free to drop a comment and say, hey Senpai, why do you stand, neutral on Piglet? Why are you not very interested in Dory? And if I see your question and I have time, I'll be more than happy to respond to you there. And again, you do not have to agree with my stance on any of this. I just love sharing my opinions with you guys. And no matter how you look at it, there's just a lot of exciting potential for the game and for future characters. So I can't wait to see who we get later this year and into 2025. Now, the last part of the survey we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on. It's pretty straightforward. It's just asking about social media. It asks players what platforms they use, what platforms they follow Dreamlight Valley on, why they follow Dreamlight Valley, and if they saw the Dreamlight Valley showcase last year on November 1st, which, yes, I did. The best part was at 18 minutes and 52 seconds. So if you go back and you search it up on YouTube and you skip ahead, you will see my favorite part of the video. The survey also asks if we'd be interested in future showcases or more showcases. Now for me, I love the showcases. I really like the developer feature they did before the Daisy update. It's great to get a look at what the devs have planned and what's coming and have like this nice breakdown of it. It's better than the typical trailer. So I'm definitely interested in future showcases. At the end of the survey, they asked us to rate how likely we are to recommend Dreamlight Valley. And here's an interesting thing about this part of the survey. It will determine one of two possibilities for the next question. If you answer 7 or above, the last question will ask you what makes you so likely to recommend the game. Like, what do you like about the game that makes you want to share it with others? If you vote 6 or lower, the last question will ask you to explain what holds you back from recommending the game. And this is something that's good to see because it shows the devs are looking for what really interests players the most, what they're enjoying the most, and what's bothering people the most. If I were to vote 7 or higher, I would have said I recommend the game because it allows me to express my creativity, as that's my favorite thing about the game. If I were to vote 6 or lower, I would have selected the other option and pointed out the numerous update bugs we have to deal with and the occasional lack of communication from Gameloft. Now that we've finished going over the survey, I would love to hear your thoughts on the topics we covered in this video. Which characters and franchises are you most or least excited to see? How do you think Dreamlight Valley should approach future events? And how do you feel about new potential Dreamlight Valley showcases coming in the future. Feel free to express your opinions in the comments below. If you found today's video helpful, informative, or simply entertaining, please do me a very big favor and press that like button. Also, consider subscribing for more Disney Dreamlight Valley and gaming content. If you would like to catch more of my content, you can find me live on Twitch Monday through Friday. Links to my Twitch channel and Discord server can be found in the video description down below. As always, thank you so much for your time today, and I hope you enjoy the future of Disney Dreamlight Valley. Would you like to know more about the Dreamsnaps system? Consider watching this video next by clicking the thumbnail now, or by visiting the link below in the video description.